So I want you to imagine walking up to a bank teller.
Okay.
You're wearing a T-shirt, right? And the shirt simply says, "I'm the bank manager."
That's a bold look.
Right. And the teller, without even blinking, without asking for an ID or a badge, just looks at the shirt and immediately hands you the keys to the vault.
Just based on the T-shirt.
Just the T-shirt.
Yeah.
Welcome to the digital equivalent of that exact scenario.
It is, it's honestly terrifying how accurate that analogy is for what we're looking at today.
Yeah, welcome to today's deep dive. We're unpacking a brand new, highly critical report from CyberScoop authored by Matt Kapko.
A fantastic breakdown, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. So our mission today is to understand this max severity 0-day vulnerability that is just, currently wreaking havoc on Cisco networks. We're going to look at who is behind it and really dig into why the systems we built to make IT easier are somehow becoming our biggest liabilities.
Yeah, centralization is a double-edged sword, for sure.
Exactly. And hey, if you want to keep getting the shortcut to being the most well-informed person in the room on these massive tech stories, make sure to hit subscribe so you never miss a deep dive.
You definitely want to be tracking this one. So just to set the stage here, we are looking at a CVSS 10 vulnerability.
A perfect 10.
Right, the highest possible severity rating. It's in the Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN controller and manager, and officially it's tracked as CVE 2026-2182.
Okay, let's unpack this because, a 10 out of 10 means remote, unauthenticated execution. But how does this actually work? Like, without getting bogged down in impossible jargon, what is the vector here?
So fundamentally, this is an authentication bypass vulnerability.
Okay.
And it lives in the REST API of the controller. Basically, an attacker just, presents themselves to the controller and says, hey, I'm a trusted network router.
The T-shirt.
Exactly, the bank manager T-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And the system blindly accepts this claim. It just doesn't validate it at all, and it grants the attacker the highest possible level of administrative access.
But wait, how? How does a massive company like Cisco leave the door wide open for an attacker with no credentials, like zero prior knowledge of the target environment, to just walk in?
Well, it's a structural logic failure. Douglas McKee over at Rapid7, they're the ones who actually discovered this flaw. He called it the cybersecurity version of a Jedi mind trick.
A Jedi mind trick.
Yeah, because it behaves exactly like a master key.
Right.
The software, it essentially fails to sanitize a specifically crafted HTTP request. So the API assumes, oh, you made it this far into the logic flow, you must have already been verified.
So it skips the actual cryptographic check?
Completely skips it. And what's really wild is that this vulnerability operates in the exact same control plane service as a previous 0-day.
Wait, really?
Yeah, CVE 2026-2127. So this is a recurring weak spot in their architecture. It's not just a one-off typo in the code.
Wow, okay. So they have the master key, they bypass the check. But why is compromising this specific controller such a catastrophic event? Compared to just hacking, a single employee's laptop or a regular server.
Well, you have to look at the blast radius here. The SD-WAN controller, it's the brain. It manages the routing and the security policy for the entire overlay network.
The whole thing.
Everything. And we're talking all deployment types, on-premises hardware, cloud instances in AWS or Azure, and even FedRAMP environments.
Oh man, FedRAMP too, so federal agencies are exposed here.
Exactly. The scale is just massive. And, connecting these dots between a single line of bad code and global corporate infrastructure is exactly why we love doing these deep dives for you. So if you're enjoying these aha moments, don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah, because the impact is just staggering. I'm looking at McKee's warning here, and he basically points out that, sure, compromising one branch router is bad. It's useful for an attacker.
Right.
But compromising the controller itself, it means you can reroute traffic for the entire company. You can intercept communications. You could push malicious configurations or just completely break connectivity across the whole organization in one click.
Yeah, you essentially own the map. You can tell the network that a secure data center in Tokyo is actually, routed through an attacker-controlled server in another country. And the local routers will just blindly follow that instruction.
That's just silent interception. The security tools on the endpoints wouldn't even flag it because the network itself is saying, yep, this is the correct route.
Exactly. And McKee actually described this as a real paradox.
The paradox how?
Because the very architecture that gives defenders the scale and the simplicity to manage these sprawling global networks, well, it also gives attackers a single point of catastrophic leverage.
The single pane of glass.
Right. Centralization is a huge double-edged sword. We built these systems to save time, and now they are the ultimate prize for threat actors.
Which naturally leads to the glaring question, who is pulling off this Jedi mind trick? And frankly, why does it seem like they are just always one step ahead of us?
So the group in question here is tracked as UAT-8617.
Okay, UAT-8617.
Yeah, and they are a highly sophisticated, persistent threat group. And their track record is, frankly, terrifying.
What have they done before?
Well, prior to this, they actually exploited a pair of 0 days in Cisco's Edge software. And they lived inside those compromised networks for at least 3 years undetected.
3 years.
3 years, before finally being caught in February.
How do you live in a corporate network for 36 months without tripping an alarm? I mean, an EDR agent or a honeypot should have caught that.
Because they aren't on the Windows machines where the EDR agents live.
Yeah.
They're operating inside the proprietary Linux kernel of the routers themselves. They run in memory. They alter the logging daemons.
Oh, so they just lie to the dashboard.
Exactly. They sanitize the logs before they even reach the security team. The dashboard says everything is fine.
That is wild.
And now they're actively chaining multiple unpatched vulnerabilities together. We're talking CVE 2026, 2122, 2128, and 2133.
Wait, chaining them, so they use one to get a foothold, another to escalate privileges.
Yep, and a third to establish persistence. They use older, unpatched flaws to build a custom exploit path if they can't use the 0 day directly.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting to me, and honestly a bit concerning. If we look at the timeline from the Cyberscoop article, Rapid7 reported this flaw to Cisco on March 9th.
Right.
Cisco then acknowledged seeing limited exploitation in the wild, quote, earlier this month, which means May.
Yeah, early May.
And the patch was only released on Thursday, May 14th.
That is a hefty gap.
It's a 2-month gap. Cisco didn't really explain what happened during that 2-month window between the initial report and the patch. Why are enterprise customers left exposed for over 60 days while a known elite threat group is actively knocking at the door?
I know, it sounds totally unacceptable from a defender's perspective.
It is unacceptable.
Well, it is, but it's the game theory of enterprise patching. Cisco has to write the patch, sure, but then they have to regression test it across physical hardware, cloud environments, backward compatibility.
Because if they break the SD-WAN controller with a bad patch, they take down the customer's network themselves.
Exactly. They cause a global outage. So they mathematically weigh the risk of an exploit against the certainty of a bad patch crashing the system. But the attackers, like UAT-8615, they don't have to run QA tests. They just exploit it.
We'll always keep tracking these industry blind spots for you, honestly, which is a great reason to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Because, I mean, you need to know when these gaps are happening.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this is absolutely not an isolated incident. CISO, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, they've actually added 7 different Cisco SD-WAN and firewall vulnerabilities to its known exploited catalog.
7. In what time frame?
In under 3 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that previous control plane 0 day we mentioned earlier, it also saw a 2-month delay before disclosure and mitigation guidance were finally released.
That's the one that prompted the emergency CISA directives, right?
Yep. CISA had to mandate that federal agencies physically disconnect compromised devices. And through all of this, Cisco has totally declined to answer questions about UAT-8615's origins or what their actual motivations are.
Probably because attribution is a political minefield. Or maybe they just don't know for sure since the group cleans the logs so well.
Almost certainly a mix of both.
So bringing this all back to you, the listener, who might just be, trying to understand the state of modern tech and secure your own environments, what is the actual practical takeaway from all of this?
Well, the immediate takeaway is very practical and very urgent. If you use Cisco Catalyst SD-WAN, apply the fixed software releases right now. Follow the advisories immediately. Just as Cisco strongly recommends, do not wait for a maintenance window.
Right, drop what you're doing.
Exactly. But the bigger takeaway for you is understanding the inherent risks of centralized network architectures. We built these systems to save time and increase efficiency. But if they are compromised, they can cost you literally everything. You have to threat hunt, assuming you are already breached.
That's a sobering thought. The systems built to save time can cost everything. Well, thanks for joining us today. If you found this breakdown helpful and you want to keep cutting through the information overload, please subscribe to the show. It's really the best way to support what we do.
Absolutely. And I want to leave you with one final kind of lingering question to ponder as we wrap up.
Go for it.
If elite threat groups can live inside our most critical networks for 3 years, completely undetected, and major vendors routinely take over 2 months to patch these master key flaws after they're reported, is our current model of vulnerability disclosure fundamentally broken? And I mean, are we just destined to always remain 2 steps behind the attackers?